People are still joining. So for those who don't know me, I'm Shayna. This is Park Post slash Syracuse University Post, um, the meeting place for all of central upstate New York post-production people. Cool. So what we're doing today is you all have Adobe Creative Cloud, and then there's 50 applications in there. Why would you need anything else besides Premiere and Photoshop and Illustrator and After Effects? So we asked ourselves that question, and there's 4 people who took on a different program in the past week to try to learn it, to see what it could be useful for, how you can integrate it with the other programs, or if it's just terrible and do not ever open this. So if you have experience in the program that they're going to talk about, please feel free to jump in and add your 2 cents about it. So Jess is going to go over InDesign, and Luke's going to go over Fuse and Mixamo. Renee is going to go over Character Animator, and Jacob, whenever he logs on, is going to go over what used to be Flash and is now Animate. So those are the 4 we're doing tonight. And if you have more requests, we saw some of these requests in the survey that people did a couple weeks ago, so that's why we picked them. So if you have more requests from other lesser used apps, just email me, let me know, or put it in the chat, and we can do those later. So Jess, take it away.
All right, so I learned InDesign. I am not an expert in InDesign. I really just learned it to kind of, have a baseline and to be able to go over it today. So like Professor Holmes was saying, if anyone has, comments throughout this, feel free to jump in as well. But I created a resume in InDesign because it served 2 purposes. One, I needed it, and also I figured we could play around with it so I can show you guys the tools in InDesign. So I think everybody can see my screen now, right? Yeah, okay. Hang on 1 second. Oh, there's my tools. Okay. So what I kind of learned is Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign are somewhat similar platforms, but they do have some differences. So first I'm going to go over the tools, and then we'll jump into what's best used for what. So up here, we just have the selection tool, which is kind of like basic for, all the platforms, but you can just select whatever, the boxes, stuff like that. One really annoying thing that I found about InDesign, so when you have a picture, it has the edge box, but then it also has another box around it. So if I move this, I can move this little icon around like this, and it's fine. It's moving correctly. But then if I select this other tool, this other selection tool with the second one, and I move it, then it's gone. So you just have to be kind of conscious of which selection tool you're actually using, because that can create problems. So basically the reason for that is the second tool is used to select like parts of objects, and then the first one is more meant for selecting like a whole object. So that's why it does the weird thing with the images, but just something to keep in mind. This page tool here is just a quick way that you can resize the document if you need to do that. And then this one is the gap tool, which is kind of a cool thing. So basically, instead of resizing, say I wanted to like resize where it says experience and make that a little smaller, I can move this over and it will just like click and drag it as opposed to having to like individually resize everything. So that's kind of a neat thing. This is the content collector tool. So this is just a way to like pull images, stuff like that, if you wanted to like move them to a different document within InDesign. And I'm sure you could maybe transfer it in other platforms as well. Text tool is just what it says, just for, you know, text. This line tool is just like you can draw like lines with it. But something kind of cool with this is you can like draw a path, and if you wanted your text to follow this path, you could kind of make the line curving and stuff like that, so that you could make the text follow along it and then just get rid of the line, which is kind of a cool thing. The pen tool is actually, sorry guys, the pen tool is where you can create like more of like a curving path. You can still do the text with that, but if you want to make something a little more interesting, you can use the pen tool for that. Or you can just use it to create shapes if you wanted to, things like that. The pencil tool is what you can use to do freehand lines. And it also has a way of smoothing out the line once you make it. So that's kind of cool. This rectangle frame tool is just, say you want to put an image in here, but you don't have it ready yet or whatever the case is, you can put this box just to hold the space so that later on you can go and add it in, but you have it kind of mapped out already. The rectangle tool is really simple, just going to draw a rectangle. There's also a few other shapes. There's the ellipse tool and the polygon tool, so you can just use that to create shapes. This scissor tool is kind of interesting. I don't know if there's ever really an instance where you would use it, but it just like cuts out parts of a shape. So it's going to make it kind of like Swiss cheese looking. So that's kind of interesting. The free transform tool is just another way to manipulate shapes and stuff like that. You can, you know, tilt them around and such. And then we have the gradient swatch tool. So that's, you know, if you want like a tie-dye looking image, you can use that and manipulate the colors however you would like. And same thing with the gradient feather tool. It's just going to be what direction you want that. And then the note tool here, this is just notes that you're not going to really see them on your document, but you know, if I put an image here, or excuse me, a note on here, it'll just leave us with a little caret on here, and then you can go back to it. Dropper tool, just basic, what you would, you know, pick up a color and move it. That's it. The hand tool, just used for moving things around. And then the zoom tool. So those are the basic tools. A lot of them are kind of just what they look like. But I also wanted to go over what these three similar platforms are good for. So InDesign is a good platform if you're going to be using a lot of images. It's good for documents. As you can see here, there's a lot of text on here, and it's kind of looks like a basic resume, but it just allowed me to add some color to it, and this didn't take me very long to do. So it's good for making a template. You can have a master page on this. So if you had a logo or something like that, you could have it in the corner or wherever, and that would carry through on multiple pages. It also supports raster and vector style work, which we'll go over. Illustrator and Photoshop each have one of those. And so then going into Photoshop, from what I was researching, that's more commonly used than Illustrator and InDesign. That's a pixel-based program, and it's mostly used for editing images. It's good for being able to touch up a picture. You can use, there's layers in it, so you can move things around independently. And it records every pixel. So that's the main thing with Photoshop is pixels. And then when we go into Illustrator, it uses vectors. So you won't lose quality when you zoom in like you could in Photoshop if there's not enough pixels. And Illustrator works well with logos because you can make things really big or really small and the quality remains the same. And that's really all I had for today. But if anyone's used these softwares and has comments, feel free to jump in. One last thing that I will say, this is decently easy to use if you're just trying to create a simple document like a resume, and just add a little color to it. And that's it. Feel free to jump in if anybody has comments.
So I've never used it before, except to make a pamphlet. So I don't know, but I've seen a lot of people do their resumes in it. Where do you guys do your resumes? Photoshop?
I use InDesign. It's super easy and like maneuverable instead of like Photoshop, I find.
Yeah, I use InDesign, but I use like templates that I find like I would never like I can't design things myself. And like InDesign just has like thousands of awesome templates that you can find.
So why do you think it's easier for a resume than the other stuff?
I think InDesign has some really cool like alignment tools when you're trying to like, which like Photoshop has, but they're a little harder to find. InDesign, like it's kind of the preset that they're all there. So like when you're trying to like center things and stuff, everything snaps super easily. And also for if you want to make templates, my job this summer was like almost everything I was doing was in InDesign, making like door signs and like stuff for like goodie bags and all that. And for templates, it's really nice. You can make like notes outside of the actual like printable document. And there you can like kind of leave notes for the next person on how to properly like change images, the different aspect ratios of everything. And so, yeah, when you're passing files between people, I think InDesign is probably the way to go if you really want consistency as a brand.
Well, and it's specifically set up for print layout, right? I mean, that's its main thing.
Yeah, I used InDesign over the summer at boot camp to design our resumes. And one good quality to have in it when you're exporting it as a PDF from InDesign, if you go up to the top and hit the type setting and you can insert a hyperlink, you can like just have your LinkedIn or website as a hyperlink on the Adobe PDF that you might send to employers so they can really just get to your stuff pretty instantly. It's a nice trick to have.
Cool.
And link your social media stuff with the cute little icons and all that.
Don't put your social media on your resume. Your business social media?
No. Yeah, your business. If you're a freelance artist, then like your Instagram or whatever that you're posting your work on.
Your IMDb.
Yeah.
I use Canva. I don't know if anyone also uses that.
Yeah, I was too embarrassed to say it, but yeah, I use Canva.
I have no shame.
I've never heard of that before.
It's an online-based platform. It's like really easy, and the templates are like super nice and really quick to like edit things. But there are like technical things that I love to change about it, which is why InDesign is probably better.
But like every registered student organization makes their flyers on Canva.
Cool. Anyone else have anything for InDesign?
Yeah, why not? I don't think that you touched upon this, but I have used InDesign a lot when designing multi-page like booklets or documents because it's really easy to, you can have like certain things just repeat on each page, and if you had a header or a footer or something.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The PPEX manual thing, it's got a staple in the middle, make folds, send it to the printer. They love that InDesign. I saw that, Rebecca. All right, next. Renee, do you want to go, or Jacob, are you all set up?
I could go.
Okay.
Okay. So the software I'm responsible for is the Adobe Character Animator, and I make an introduction video in case I forget something to tell you guys. And if you have any question about my audio, I know that my audio, I don't know why it's a little bit creepy, or my accent. So you could ask me any question after the audio, and then I will have a discuss. Let me share my screen. Hello. Hi everyone, I'm Renee. Today I'm going to talk about an Adobe software that less people know and use. But it's really helpful when you want to make a character animation in a very short time. So this software is Adobe Character Animator. It is a real-time animation software through the camera capture your face movement, applied to the 2D animation character, real-time generation of facial expression animation, and mouse animation. And this technology is more often used in the broadcast, for the live, or something else. And also I made a very short animation in just a few minutes by this software. So let's have a look. And then I will show you how I made it. Hello everyone, I'm Chen. Welcome to Guitar University, the podcast of music lovers and musicians. We teach you everything you need to know to help you become a master musician, from music theory to improvisation. Each week, we work on a special technique with a new guitar pro. So let's start it. See you on the next section. Bye. So after I show the video, let's talk about how to use this software. First, let's have a look about the homepage. You can see there's a lot of tutorial and lessons here to help you to start this software. And also there's a lot of example puppets here. All the settings of the puppets are ready for you. So if you just want to have a try and make a short animation, just pick one of your favorite. And also you can click see more here. There's a lot of other puppets provided by Adobe. And now we just choose the one I used for my video. So you can see in the project panel, the character and the scene has automatically created, and at the camera and microphone panel, your face appears here. You set your face at the center of the circle, and then click Set Rest Pose. And then you can see your face are automatically captured by those red dots. First, we saw the character, it's a little bit too big for this scene, so we can change the size and height of the scene. Then change it to a little bit bigger, maybe change it to a square one. Okay, so now we can see the character's whole body. Okay, and then the second thing I want to show you is the rig here. You can change your character settings here. For example, let's click the right eyebrow, and then you can change the position, change the scale, just like what we did in the After Effects. And then this crow here, if you click the crow, that means this part of your puppet moved with your body. So let's see what happened if you unclick that. First, we could have a look at, you can see the hair here moves with my head. And then if I unclick, straight, okay, and then go back. you can see the hair doesn't move again. And then the other thing I want to show you is some tools at the bottom here, especially the pin tool. It's just like what we use in After Effects. Sometimes if you, without the pin tool at the bottom of your body, when you move your face and the character moves with you, you can see the legs, the feet floating in the air. That's very horrible. So sometimes make sure you have some pin tool at the bottom of your characters. And then I want to show you another way to change your character. So when you click on the character, and then here appears an PS kind of. It's added original. So it's added your character in the original files. Sometimes it's in Illustrator, and sometimes it's PS. All the puppets that Adobe provided are created in PS or Illustrator. So let's just click. Okay, now we could see the file in the Photoshop. If you change some settings in the Photoshop, then it will, it's like a dynamic link. It will change automatically in the character animator. So let's just change the scale of the eyes, change it to a big eye. And then another thing is, if you want your puppet, also like what we did on the crown, you want the character moves with your movement, just when you edit, when you name your layer, add a plus before the layer, and then make sure each part of your character are in separate layer and in one of a group. And then we Control S, save it. Yeah, and then we can see it has a big and small eyes here. The next thing I want to show you is how to make the recording. First, click the tool, double click the scene here, and then you can see there's some red button at here. So if you want to record that part and also the character move with your face, then you need to click on this red dot. If you don't want, just unclick it, and then you can see whenever I say the mouse doesn't move. And then so make sure click on this, and then that's very simple. Just click the record here. Recording 3, 2, 1. Hello. My name is Suo. Nice to meet you. And then click here and stop. It appears your audio and the camera movement here, and also you can see there's a voice clips. Especially it's kind of how your mouse move at that time. So it's pretty simple. And then there's also have some interesting expression. It's presetting of this character. So some of the puppets have, some of the puppets doesn't have. But for this one, it really has something interesting. So you can click the tool, and then here you can see some of the expressions. And there's the numbers, the shortcut here. So if I click P, and the movement change to here. If I click A, you can see the eyes. So it's really interesting. So if you just want to make some quick changes, and just whatever, you click on your keyboard and have a try. And then if you want to use some audio from outside, then there's a way to do that. First, you just import your file. I put it here. And then you drag it down to the timeline, put it to the right place, and then click on that one. Here's the timeline. Compute left select take from the scene audio. So just click on this one. And then let's have a look about what's happening on my character.
The band Coldplay, formed in January of 1998.
So you can see that actually it's moved with the audio I made, but it's not very clear or exactly what the mouse movement I made. You can change here. These are some certain movement about some mouse capture, some mouse shape. And this one is S, this one is A. So you can drag it to make it longer or shorter, something like that. Then I want to show you how to add keyframe on the timeline. So first, click on tool here, and then the puppet tracking behavior appears at the right side. Maybe we just change some transform. So click the clock at the left side of the word. Maybe we change the position and find another place. Change the place. Okay, and then find another place. Change the select the scale. Can make it wider. And let's have a look.
Sessions produce the release of their first EP. Then,
Yeah, so it's really simple. And then, if you want your character's movement transform from one movement to another movement more fluently, there's a small square here. You can drag it, so the movement will be
the band Coldplay.
a little bit fluently, a little bit smoother. The last thing I want to show you is how to export. So basically, you just click share, and then go to the video via Adobe Media Encoder. Then you can just export any type of video you want. And also you can choose the dynamic link. It's just like you input the character animator project in After Effects or Premiere later, and then if you make some changes in the character animator, then it will also appear in the project in the Premiere and After Effects. And that's it for the first several things you need to know for you create and record your own very short, simple animation by this software. Okay, so that's it. Video I made a little bit creepy, and then several things I want to mention is like why we would use this program. I feel like if you are the teacher that making online courses, especially for kids, or a lecturer with funny topics, talk show makers, animator for shorts, and animation lovers in just layman editing level, then this is a good software to help you make your project very well and the starting point of your first animation. And so this software, I think the biggest advantage of this software is the facial capture. It's really helpful. I remember when I had the animation class last semester, and assignment is to create a character animation with words. So when I create a character, it really spent me a lot of time working on the mouth movement, creating different mouth shapes, different pronunciations. But in character animators, they capture your mouse movement by AI, and you only need to make small changes after that. So it's really save your time. And also like some other advantages, like if you just want to have a try, just use the templates, use the examples they have, and no need to other footage. And also it's in the big family of Adobe. So it's easier to link this with other Adobe software like Premiere, After Effects. So you can create your own character in Illustrator or Photoshop, and then make the character start moving in the character animator, and then go to the Premiere or After Effects to like finish your editing. It's kind of customize your work, but also I feel like it also has some disadvantages. It's a lot of panels that compare with some similar software like Face Rig. So this one is a little bit complex, and the CPU issue, it's very it's very crazy. It make my computer burn. And so it's more like it's faster, it's quicker, but still limited. And then the last thing I want to show you is some substitutes. So I will show one more video about the face rig. It's another similar software that you can create your character animation in like really quick.
War is upon you. As we speak, a massive airship armada is preparing to strike your peaceful forest. But fear not, for you are in luck. I am a highly trained hero.
Hey. Tiff, not now. Come on.
Aw, sorry, babe. Did I interrupt your hero speech again?
Preparing to save the world or just recording your vlog? With FaceRig, everything is so much better. FaceRig is a program that lets you become any character you want in your online interactions, be they chatting, vlogging, or whatever. All you need is a computer and a webcam. Yes, it's as simple as that. Do you know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in France? FaceRig maps your facial features using your webcam, giving you complete control over your 3D avatar.
Okay, guys. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Wait. La la la.
Duke, I am your father. Choose from a wide range of characters and backgrounds, or if you're feeling creative, you can design your own. You can become a samurai kitten, a hot alien cyborg, an enchanted elf, or even embody a number of game avatars like the ones from Team Fortress. You can also customize your avatar any way you like. This includes colors, facial features, and a wide range of cool props. And to top it all off, all of our characters are painstakingly developed to have incredible lip sync. Oh yeah, I totally know the way to Grandma's house. With FaceRig, you'll never have to settle for plain reality ever again. Spice up your online conversations, record eye-popping vlogs, or transform any party into a freestyle impersonation show. There's really no limit to what you can do with FaceRig. Log in to Steam and download FaceRig now.
Yeah, so this one is another similar one, but I think this one is more easy to use when you have a live show or streaming things. But the character animator is more like if you want to create a project, create your own video. So that's a little bit different, and hope you like it. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. I actually thought that I'd used Character Animator like right the first version that came out, and I kind of thought of it as like a novelty. It's much more fully featured than I imagine. I'm going to be using it for lip sync next time I do 2D for sure.
Yeah, last time I looked at it, it was beta, and it seemed to be beta for years. So I don't know, seems to be better now. Less buggy.
That's asking too much from Adobe, though. You know, it's got to at least make your MacBook sound like it's about to take off, right?
Hey, Chrome does that to mine, so.
Is that actually a viable way to do lip sync for something like in a film context?
Well, if it's integrated with Creative Cloud, I imagine it would just, if you could just do the lip sync past there. You saw it even dropped in like the phonemes, and you could adjust the length that they're held. It's like pretty amazing. But yeah, I bet you'd be doing most of the animation in either Animate or After Effects.
In 3D, is there like a plugin for Maya that could do something like that?
Yeah, there are some.
Interesting.
Is that what you're going to do next week?
Well, he's going to be showing rigged character, right? Yeah, and some lip sync, but the painstaking type of lip sync.
Yeah, the horrible month-long kind.
Cool. Anyone ever use it on a project before, Character Animate? Is anyone going to now that they see it?
I might find an excuse to use it just because I remember like a few years ago I saw a video about it and it looks like very like it can do one thing and one thing only, but now like I'm gonna try and find an excuse to use it, and hopefully I find that.
Yeah, she was having a hard time customizing a Photoshop file that she created on her own. So I think once you crack that and you name everything properly in Photoshop, I think it'll translate better and not be just the stock template things. But yeah, cool. Thank you, Renee. Jacob, Hearl.
All right. So, share my screen, I guess. Let's see here. All right. So, Animate. Adobe Animate used to be known as Flash until they updated it because the problem was it didn't have a lot of different amenities that other programs had, so people wanted an upgrade, and this is what they came up with. And for a number of reasons, which I'm about to go over, it didn't really hold up to what people wanted. So Animate is, although it might be on the surface seem like it's for all animation, like in terms of the Adobe suite, it's more so geared towards things that are online based, whether it's in like an animation for like a website, something that's not necessarily like a full-on cartoon or something like a TV show that you would normally see. There are some TV shows that have been made with it. I think like My Little Pony was one of them. But I'm gonna go over it. There's a couple reasons why most shows don't use this. And the main thing is that once you make an animation in this, you kind of make it like by scene on the basis of each scene, and then you have to bring it out of it and put it back into like After Effects or Premiere or something else to compile all of that. So this was kind of designed to be a more like ease of use thing. Although you don't have as much room to play around with things, and it's a little, at least for me, I find it a little more confusing than using things like After Effects. But when you make a new scene, it comes up with all these options, just like for most of Adobe products. And as you can see, like with the interactive online thing, they have the games here. It's not like actual games really. It's just kind of you press buttons and the character will move around, I guess, on the screen. But they also, a big thing is that they have HTML integration here. So like I said, it's really just with a lot of like ads, games, stuff like that. So when you come into it, create a new one. Just gonna resize this. So you have this blank thing. You have this weird looking timeline. It's not gonna let me go forward, but so start off with this. I'm just gonna play around with some shapes and then show you something that I did, and then talk a little bit about more the importance of this and like what you should do with it if you choose to, and maybe some alternatives, because I personally am not the hugest fan of it, just from the time I spent going through it. So if you just wanted to like take a shape here, you draw a shape. Here, let me just hide this. Say you want to create a character, and here, I'm going to delete that. So you want to create a character, and you're going to make the head first, because a lot of this stuff, like a lot of YouTubers might use this program because they want to like those cartoon commentary YouTubers, if you know what I'm talking about. Because this has a lip syncing feature where you can, just like in After Effects, it kind of streamlines the process where you can just input a bunch of drawn mouth images, and then it'll kind of sync up to what your voiceover is. So that it kind of streamlines that a lot. So a lot of people use it for that. So you have the face here. Just, I don't know, change the fill to whatever. You can do is draw these shapes, and say you wanted to make hair, just another shape over it. I'll give them that. Oh. Keep this hair. So it's kind of like, I found it to be kind of fun. So like you can just kind of take these shapes, and through playing with each of them, you just select it like that, delete it, and then you kind of just build your character from there. You can give him eyes, and so on. Oh, it's kind of hard to select that. There we go. And then just duplicate it by holding Alt. And there's some eyes and hair. But you can actually cut into single shapes by dragging like this. And then, oh, didn't delete that. Drag into it and deleting. And then with these little tools right here, there's the circle, which lets you extrude like that. But you can also play with the corners and combine them or whatever if you want to shape the object like that. So I'll show you guys what I made in like 10 or 15 minutes. So if you, this is really just a combination of a bunch of different shapes. So like the hair is a bunch of triangles that I would duplicate and shape them with the little curve tool that comes up when you click on them. And so yeah, it's pretty simple, and it's kind of fun just to mess around with it. And that's the nice thing about this program is, like, for After Effects, you can't really draw the character within the program. You have to do it in Illustrator or Photoshop, which is kind of annoying. And this is kind of all-inclusive for that, so you could just do it all within here. You could also rig the character in here, so giving it a skeleton. It'll move around like that. And then, so if you want to, like I said, if you want to do basic animations and stuff like that, I'll just play like the quick one I did. It's really just move the keyframe slider down here around, and you just click on the bones and move it to wherever. So it's really basic in that sense. And like I said, you could do the lip syncing and stuff like that. But yeah, you can branch off from that as much as you want, but in the end, it's still kind of limited. And the fact that you have to bring everything back into another program is a big reason why a lot of people just won't use it outright. I personally have done some animation things in Shayna's Professor Holmes animation class last semester, and on my own through Illustrator and After Effects. So like we would have to build the character in Illustrator, draw it, and then separate the parts, and then you just bring it to After Effects. But once you have it in After Effects, the program is so versatile that you can really do anything from there. Like all you have to do is just puppet it in After Effects, and you can do the same exact thing that I'm doing here. It's just kind of that step where you have to do it in Illustrator first or Photoshop is kind of annoying. But once you get it in there, you can do whatever you want. You can composite it into anything. This program, there is no compositing at all, so that's a big reason why a lot of people don't use it. But yeah, once you have it in After Effects, it's just the normal timeline. So anyone that's more familiar with the video editing timeline is going to have that easier. So if you have to do anything for your short film or just a quick video, and you don't really want to devote yourself to learning all these things, then this is definitely an option. It's going to be a little weird at first for learning what all the layers come down to. And there's a lot of weird things like editing sound. All the controls are not where I expected them to be, so it took me a little longer to figure out. But yes, you have this option, or you have more so what I would recommend is After Effects, just because you could really do everything in there. You don't even have to come into here. And you can compile the footage, and you can just put everything in a pre-comp and put it all together. But what am I thinking? So yeah, another thing with this program is that since you can't really do much with it, and it's mainly meant for these online animations, it's not something that you necessarily would get a job for. You can't really get a job from it. If you did want to get into more animation, there is a program called, I think I have it up here, it's called, oh no, this is covering it. Toon Boom. So this is basically what all of like, not all of it, but a lot of the big cartoons are built with. And basically it's $4 a month for a student, which is already like a fifth of what just having the Animate for a month is. But as you can see, a lot of the big shows, this thing keeps popping up in front of it. Wait, I don't know. Is it even showing the screen here? That's my fault. Here. There we go. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, Toon Boom. A lot of big shows are made with it. So yeah, this is a program that you can kind of do everything within it. So that's why it's used by a lot. It's the industry standard, really. So if you want to get into more of these cartoon animations, this is definitely what you should look into using. But if you are interested in just doing these shorter animations for your short films or whatever within After Effects, usually After Effects doesn't come with a rigging tool necessarily, but you can get this free plugin called Duik, D-U-I-K, that allows you to do the rig in After Effects, which is very helpful. And I feel like at that point, for me personally, there's really no reason for me to go into Animate. But then again, I'm not really doing any of these online website animations or stuff like that. So it's definitely viable to use it, especially with like the automatic lip syncing. It can be really helpful. But yeah, in the end, it really comes down to whatever you guys feel comfortable with. I feel a lot more comfortable with standard video editing timeline, and I'm just really comfortable with After Effects in general. So I have no problem doing all of that stuff in there. But yeah, it's just it's an interesting program, to say the least. It's not what I expected it to be. I thought it would be like a full-blown, just like what Toon Boom is, where it's all about like if you had to do any sort of animation, you do it in there, and you can ditch After Effects, whatever. But it turns out that it's not. So yeah, that's all I got.
Sounds like a negative review.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm gonna give it a thumbs down. But I think that it has a use. I'm just saying I don't think I'm gonna ever take advantage of that use. And I think that other programs can do it better. And if another program within the Adobe suite can kind of do that better already, I don't really see much of a purpose.
It's still Flash. It's still Flash.
Yeah. If you want to make animations for Newgrounds, then have at it. But
which won't exist after December.
Oh, really?
Chrome, or at least Chrome is removing all Flash capabilities as of this December, permanently. So download your Armor games, your Cool Math games.
All my Prezzies.
Yep, your Prezzies are going to be gone.
Oh,
actually, wow. I think Prezi moved to HTML5, but that's like the alternative.
I know Cool Math did.
Yeah.
Cool. Brad, do you have any last words for Flash Animate?
I'm not a fan. I've never been a fan of Flash. I found it was weird. I was expecting when they were going to release Animate that it would have some sort of compositing capabilities and that they would ditch the bizarre Flash frame-by-frame tweening timeline thing that I always found odd, especially when people would make websites in that way back in the day. It was hilariously weird. Yeah, so I think it's just still Flash, and I think it's that whole scene's dead now. So. Oh, TV Paint, that's another one, but you probably have to learn French, I think, to work in those studios. TV Paint is another big package.
Cool. Thank you, Jacob. Last but not least, Luke with the least useful tool of the night.
You haven't even learned about it yet. I apologize if I go a few minutes over. I know we're slow on time, so if you guys have to leave, I understand. I won't take it personally, maybe. But I promise you won't want to miss this. Fuse! Oh, I'm not screen sharing. That ruined the effect. Here we go. Fuse. You know it. You love it. So now, most basically, what is Fuse? Basically, it is a way to create 3D characters that you can use in other 3D programs, whether that be for video games, for 3D animation, whatever you want. It's basically a nice way to do it for free. You aren't going to get super high quality stuff, but especially if you're like a student who's practicing stuff in 3D, it's a really good way to start out. So I'll show you the basics. It actually works very similar to like a video game character editor. So you can like choose a head like this brute here. Oh, look how broody. And on the surface, all these things are actually pretty simple, but you can go very in depth if you hit customize. So you can actually select like the bridge of his nose and be like, hey, I want that to be narrow. Or you can select his eyelids and be like, hey, bring those down there. Basically, it's very easy to create just terrifying things, but if you get really good and put a lot of time in, you can basically make these faces whatever you want. So just give them some awesome cheekbones. Made it have a little short head, and you know what? Those ears need to be a little higher. So that's the level of detail you have. And like I said, you can see how many different points I can select here. So you can just spend hours and hours. So you could like theoretically recreate your face almost perfectly if you were that bored. And if you want to make something like even more detailed, you can do this kind of stuff, which I mean looks horrible right now, but if you're someone who actually like uses the time to actually like go like little bit by bit to add those imperfections, go you. You're awesome. I don't have that patience right now. Onto the body. Let's just have this body here. Again, same thing, different selection points all over you can control. We'll be quick, so we'll throw on some zombie legs because, ooh, it's almost October. And we'll throw on some zombie arms. Wow, look at this man. He looks so real. Luke, are you sure that's not a photo? I'm pretty sure. And again, just to show you, we can make him nice and beefy armed, but short armed and low armed. These are the important things in the industry. Short, big arms are in. I am your expert on this, trust me. And, ooh, yeah, the face is fun because you can do different expressions. So say you wanted to be, you know, a little silly. Oh, look how silly, but he's also worried and maybe a little cocky. But you know what? We don't want this man being exposed as a zombie right now. We got to cover that up. So I'm sorry, this is atrocious. Here's some clothing options. Now I know it doesn't look like there are a ton, but there are actually tons of packs you can download online for free, or some people are selling them that have extra clothes. And once you see how much you can customize them, you'll be like, gee, Luke, I'm like at a Macy's right now. So you see, we're gonna have a nice leather jacket because that's what big brute men wear. For the bottom, oh yeah, because you know he's always ready for some adventure. Let's give him some flats. And oh right, gotta remember that awesome hair. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this. Oh, and of course, because he's responsible, and so you should be too. Now, like I said, these are all the preset colors for these things, but then you can just go over to this nifty little texture slide, and ooh, look, if I select that mask, this pops up. You can see you can change some basic things. Oh, you can change some basic things about the texture of that mask, but we're actually gonna go over here where you can actually change, where you select it. If we go to main fabric, so you can see that's main fabric for the satin part of the mask, you can actually go over here and you could make that cool metal. oh, look at that. Or if you wanted to make a nice little pattern, you can do that, and you can actually change the scale of the pattern, you can randomize it a bit, and you can change each individual color of that pattern art. Now, come down to this top here, like the leather jacket, you'll see there are actually a lot more choices because you have all these different fabrics. So you can go right in for looking at the cuffs. So you can see the cuffs here. You can actually go individual color by color, and you'll see that those cuffs will start to change. So you can go super in depth, or you can go with super basic stuff like just changing the entire shirt to be some sick Scottish fabric. I'm not going to linger too long now. You guys, I think, have a good idea of what you can do with this. Yes. So I'm going to now show you what you can actually do with one of these characters. So first off, because it'll actually take a second to upload, we're going to upload it to our CC library. I have never used this before this demonstration. Apparently you can use it to like consolidate. Oh no. We're live. You can use it to consolidate random assets and stuff between different Adobe products. It looks like we may have crashed. Side note about Fuse, it crashes all the time, and it's also impossible to start up. For example, the proper way to open up Fuse is you have to click it about 20 times, and then it'll open. And I know you're saying, Luke, you didn't actually have to do that. Yes, you do. And there are actually like Adobe help websites where the guy from Adobe's like, maybe try spamming it. And that is the correct answer. But we lost that guy, but don't worry, I will show you. I can't do it obviously right now, but basically if we still had our person, like I said, saved to the CC library, and then, yeah, I don't think it had a autosave. Shoot. Like I said, that's okay. So you want to save it there, and then you can also export as an OBJ. When you export as an OBJ, it'll ask you if you want to package your textures with it. I say yes, because that'll make it easier to work with in other programs. You don't have to retexture everything manually. And I guess Fuse betrayed us, but luckily I have a bunch of backup characters I can show you guys. So one thing you can do with one of those characters is you can bring it over to Mixamo. Woo! For those who don't know Mixamo, it's basically an Adobe partnered company that lets you choose between like hundreds of preset character models that they give you, as well as hundreds of animations. So you can use these animations in a bunch of different kinds of projects. You can use it for video games. You can use it for like 3D animated film stuff. Again, not like gonna be like professional level stuff, but it's great if you want to get into 3D animation and need something for free. And see, some of them even have some cool sliders. So like less style, more style. And once you're on here, you can download that model with the animation and import it how you'd like. Uploading your character to this is super easy. If I had been able to get my character out of Fuse, you would have seen that I could just drag the folder once it's zipped into here, and it would have loaded in perfectly after you set up the skeleton. But alas, it sucks. We're gonna get out of Mixamo. Like I said, I don't know a ton about Mixamo. Other people might if you actually have used it. But we're actually gonna go over to Photoshop right now, because that's what this program is advertised as being. It's supposed to be a Photoshop companion. Weird. But I'll show you. So I've pre-selected a background photo. It's a cool explosion, you know, like an action movie. And I think we created an action movie in Star. We'll never be able to see it again, but luckily I have some from earlier. So here we have a nice background. And once you're in Photoshop, all you need to do is go to this library tab and then find my library, and then your models will be here. I'm having trouble having them actually show up as thumbnails. We can just go and drag a model in. And so this is one that I made earlier. There we go. And once you're in this, you're in the 3D workspace for Photoshop, which is interesting. Again, I don't know a ton about 3D Photoshop stuff, but basically you can use these tools down and stuff. Character wanna. So it's pretty good. Not quite, but we're being here right now. So at that.
Does
And
not
then
like screen sharing while you're doing 3D.
Oh, not. Shoot.
You're like cutting up.
It only gives you
Okay.
every other word. It's got a weird cadence to it.
I'll just talk slowly. So at least see what I'm doing. I'm gonna actually bring it back. Always sounds now. Or that nifty there, so that looks like there's some shadow explosion. Then you come down deep and here, you can add a little light, and you're gonna do a nice light just to get a little character, but we're gonna that explosion shadow. Ooh, that's not action. I know. He's just posing there. I'm cool 12-year-old. No. Come over here. If you click model, you can have a thing right here. And this is the same as Mixamo. So you see 120 pages of animation. How are we going to find on this little search bar? Just put in like dive. And a quick thrown to the side. That sounds cool. I know he's not now, but what you do is go window, place that spot down here, time, and now have an and that you can act play at like 10 frames again. But we're just going to screw on this time here and find a frame that we like. Ooh, cool. Yeah. Go. That looks awesome. Freeze. Now, if you want to do adjustments to act this fit in the Animator with color and all that, you can't really do that while it's a so you either do convert just or what I'm doing is then background exporting as
We lose him.
Thank you. That was awesome.
You know what? You guys got your edits.
You gotta close Photoshop.
Yeah. Thank you, Adobe, and your internet provider.
Yeah, Verizon really doesn't like you.
I'm so sorry. I don't know why
Oh, you're
Photoshop
back.
broke me. No,
Later.
sorry about the quality of that. I'm sure. I hope you at least got a glimpse, like every 20 frames of 20 seconds, what it's supposed to look like. But yeah, practicality-wise, I don't do a ton of 3D stuff, so I can't speak for saying whether this is actually like usable in a high-quality setting. I'm gonna say it's maybe if you bring in the model into a like Blender or Maya and do your own custom animation, there are probably ways you can make it look better. And I'll actually send a little link in the chat if you're a Blender person. That link is the first video of a 3-video series on how to use a fused character in Blender. And so that's it. If you take the base character and then do the other stuff yourself, you can make it look decent. But no matter what, if you're like serious about 3D animation, you're probably going to be making your own characters most of the time. So yeah, that's Fuse. I'll probably never use it, but that's just because it's not something I've been working in. But if anyone else thinks like, hey, that'd be cool for this, let me know.
Only Jacob.
I mean, I like Fuse. It's good. Like once you exit the Adobe like process of like using once it is removed from Adobe, it kind of breaks like in other programs. But I feel like the idea is good, and it kind of like you can kind of use it, but it usually breaks in some way. But I think if you can like, I'm trying to like, I kind of like it, even though I had like a horrible experience with it in my last film. Like it really gave me a lot of issues trying to use it in Maya, but like it's a cool idea, and it's like it's cool to have just be able to like start from scratch and make this character and then put some weird animation on it. And especially if you want to go for something like really like messed up, like it'll just like you can do all kinds of weird things with those characters. But
definitely, yeah, that's it. I think creativity wise, there are a ton of tools there, and so the characters that you get from Fuse can actually be like really unique and interesting. Like you said, I think it's just like I don't know like workflow wise how well it works with other things. I tried to bring it into an Unreal project and it was a disaster. I tried with Unity a bit too because like I have more experience with that side of 3D than like animation stuff, and yeah,
they don't work.
Not great, no.
There's no, I keep saying it, but the root motion, basically like you can't make them walk. Like make it look like they're actually walking in the space, virtual space.
All the tutorials I saw said you basically had to bring it into
like Blender and then convert it.
Cinema 4D was the one a lot of people are using. They're using Cinema 4D to Blender, or to Maya, or to something else. So
it's worthless, is what you're saying.
I'm saying it's a good, fun time.
It is fun.
That's the thing. I'd honestly recommend downloading it. It's a super small download, and it's really fun to just like mess around and make some creepy looking people. But yeah, I don't know if you're actually like serious about the craft, if it's going to be a useful tool in your arsenal.
I think it's never going to do what you expect it to do. So it's just like if you use it, expect something might happen, but it's not going to be like what you wanted to happen. So yeah. But yeah,
what a useful tool. Doesn't do what you want.
It's an adventure.
Look at Brad's photo.
Yeah, that's Jacob's work right there.
Yeah, that's what I came out of Fuse with. But I really kind of liked what I ended up with in a way. It's just that's not what I expected originally, for sure.
That's the thing. One of the tutorials I found on bringing Fuse stuff into Blender, the ending, I skipped to the ending to see like how good does this look? And I was expecting it to be like a cool like animation thing, and the face looked like that, and like the eyes were like floating on the other side of the screen, and like, well, now you see we have a successful animation. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like their jaw was like attached to her foot, and I was like, what is?
Yeah, you can see inside of Jacob's characters.
Yeah.
And
but hey, if that's what you want.
Fuse is actually pretty good for iterating, like generating just a bunch of like characters. Like you need like a crowd that has a consistent rig across it, where you can retarget stuff, really easy to a bunch of individual characters. You can generate characters pretty quickly with it compared to like Autodesk character generator I've used before, and that's pretty janky. A lot of the prepackaged stuff I found is pretty janky.
I think that what I've learned through all these programs, is that Adobe just likes to pump out a bunch of programs that are specialized, are not good at what they're specialized in, and then they just jack up the price to high amounts per month.
But look at what you can make. It's so real, so lifelike when it's shown as a zoom background.
Now that it's rendered, it looks pretty good.
That's the thing. When you look at it from a distance on a super compressed video chat, I think it passes. I think it's a pretty good option.